It was a warm summer's day when Sarah, a determined investigative journalist, arrived in the small, forgotten town of Crestwood. She had heard whispers of something unsettling happening there, whispers that spoke of unexplained disappearances and a town gripped by an eerie silence. As Sarah parked her car on the outskirts of Crestwood, she couldn't help but notice the uncanny stillness that hung in the air. The streets were devoid of life, and the buildings seemed frozen in time. It was as if the entire town had been abandoned in haste. Sarah began her investigation by visiting the local police station. Inside, she found an old, dusty logbook filled with reports of missing persons, dating back decades. But what struck her as odd was the lack of any recent entries. It was as though the disappearances had suddenly ceased. Her next stop was the town's sole diner, the Crestwood Cafe. Sarah hoped to find someone who could shed light on the town's mysterious history. However, when she entered the diner, she was met with an unsettling sight: a row of empty seats, untouched plates of food, and a flickering neon sign that read "Open." Sarah called out, but her voice echoed through the empty space. It was as though time had frozen in the middle of a meal. She stepped behind the counter and saw a newspaper dated 1995. The headlines screamed of a gruesome murder-suicide that had taken place in Crestwood. It was clear that something dark had plagued the town for years. As Sarah continued her investigation, she stumbled upon an old manor on the outskirts of Crestwood. The mansion had long been abandoned and was rumored to be the epicenter of the town's troubles. The locals had referred to it as the House of Whispers. As she approached the manor, the air grew heavy with an unnatural chill. The mansion loomed over her, its windows shattered, and ivy-covered walls bearing silent witness to a forgotten past. Sarah ventured inside, her footsteps echoing through the dilapidated hallways. In the mansion's library, she discovered a journal belonging to a man named Samuel Hawthorne. His entries told a haunting tale of a cult that had taken root in Crestwood in the late 80s. The cult worshipped an ancient and malevolent entity known as the Silent One. They believed that by sacrificing the voices of the town's residents, they could gain favor with the entity. Sarah's heart raced as she realized the truth: the town of Crestwood had fallen under the sway of the cult, and the eerie silence was the result of their sinister rituals. With newfound determination, Sarah continued her exploration of the mansion. In a hidden chamber deep within, she found an altar adorned with strange symbols and a life-sized statue of the Silent One. It radiated an unsettling aura, and she could almost hear the echoes of the cult's chants in the stillness. As she turned to leave, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness, a man clad in tattered robes, his eyes empty voids. He was the last remaining member of the cult, a guardian of their dark secret. The cultist spoke of the Silent One's return, of a ritual that would grant unimaginable power. He lunged at Sarah, his hands reaching for her throat, but she fought back with every ounce of her strength. In the struggle, she managed to grab an ancient ceremonial dagger from the altar and plunged it into the cultist's chest. With a haunting scream, the cultist crumpled to the ground, lifeless. The mansion itself seemed to groan and tremble as though the evil that had lingered there for years was finally released. Sarah rushed out of the mansion and returned to her car, leaving Crestwood behind. As she drove away, the town seemed to fade into the distance, disappearing as though it had never existed. Sarah knew that the town's story would never be told, its secrets forever locked away. Crestwood had vanished into obscurity, and the echoes of the Silent One's curse would remain a chilling legend, a cautionary tale of the horrors that could lurk beneath the surface of even the quietest towns.